Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you guys can see, we are in the third bay. The Corvette and everything is outside. That is because we are cleaning up because we've had a bunch of major projects around here and I wanted to start organizing everything a little bit better. And how we're going to do that is by modifying our Harbor Freight toolboxes, these US General toolboxes. We're going to be modifying the 27-inch cabinet. We're going to be modifying the hutch, and we're going to start the modifications by installing this Icon Work Center light bar. Basically, that's going to go up here on the ceiling of the hutch. And this was actually kind of a pain to order. You go to the store, they tell you can only order it online. You go online, they tell you can only order it in the store. I called like the 1-800 Harbor Freight customer service number. I don't know what the actual number is. And they said, hey, you have to go to the store, talk with the manager, and have them order it for you. So what a total pain in the butt. This took roughly like 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks to come in. I think more than a month, but not quite 2 months. I think it's about 6 weeks. And what this is the Icon toolbox. This is their work center bar I was telling you. The item number is 56553. So if you go into the store, speak with the manager, tell them you want to order this, and they will order it for you. So like I said, we placed an order and it's just one of those things. The light bar was $99. I had a 15% off coupon that I used, so that drops it down to like 85, 80, something like that. So not a terrible investment for some great lighting. So let's go ahead, get this opened up, we'll get installed, and we'll show you how everything's gonna work. All right guys, so we have gotten the box open. Not a ton here. You got your LED stick, you've got your set of instructions, you've got a magnet. This is basically going to be the trigger for it to turn on. You got your power cord, and then you've got your little controller box, and this is magnetic. So basically how we're going to do this is the light will mount into the recessed part of the door. I think on the Icon toolbox there's a specific slot for it. So for our US General box, we're just going to stick it into this probably 5-inch slot here between the outside edge and this middle support brace. So somewhere in the middle here, we will run the power and everything down over here. And then, like I said, we got to set up this magnet right here, and this will be the trigger for the light to turn on when you open the box. All right guys, this is a very rough install on the light. I just kind of want to show you the main purpose and how this is gonna work. So I did get the triggering to work with that magnet. How I did that was over here. You can see I put the magnet on the inside of the door flange, and then you can see the little black box that had some double-sided sticky tape on it. Actually, I think it's Velcro. Put that on the side of the box, put the magnet above it. So as you can see, it will turn on and off as you close and open the hutch. Now guys, this is my lunch shop. I doubt I will ever close this hutch, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure that functionality was built in. Then we got a switch right here, you know, turn it on, turn it off, you're good to go. Obviously there is some wire cleanup here, but you know, we'll get to that at a later date. I just wanted to get this first part of this install done, and that was get the magnet, the trigger, get the power button on, then get the hutch light installed. And as you guys can see, you know, this thing lights up this hutch really, really well. So I'm almost embarrassed with the stuff that's in here now. So maybe that's another thing we'll clean up for a future video. But yeah, that's just the rough install. Obviously you can get clips and zip ties and magnetic, you know, clips like that, you know, just hang everything up, clean everything up, and tie that stuff all together. So my only complaint would be, you know, we are using the US General power strip, and the Icon hutch light, this thing is stupid in size, if that makes sense. So you know, it's just really big and takes up a ton of space on your power strip. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. They do give you an extension cord for one of the power strips. Obviously we didn't need it in this setup, but that is something you could use for the future. So all right guys, we're gonna continue the modifications to our US General hutch with a couple adapters, and we're gonna actually get some hardware out of my office and into here into the garage. It's gonna be this 20 or 22 inch monitor. I don't really recall the size, and I'm gonna use a couple adapter brackets to get the Samsung monitor. It has a really weird kind of mounting plate. I picked this up on Amazon for like 32 bucks, something like that. And then I got this adapter. This is from 132 Fab. They sell spacers and stuff for the US General toolboxes. And this is basically your flat panel that will bolt to this, and then this will slide into the back of the monitor. And this is to replace the TV that we used to have up here and just have something be a little bit more accessible and actually be more functional. So I do have a laptop, and I don't want to use, you know, the screen for the laptop. I can have this hanging in the hutch. I can use these two adapters and then just plug right into it with some HDMI cables. So, all right guys, if you happen to have this particular monitor, it's a Samsung SyncMaster T220 HD. This was kind of a pain to get out, but the factory mount, if that's what you want to call it, kind of just have to manhandle it to get it out of there and just kind of wiggle, 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 and finally this thing slid out. So this thing mounts like that. You know, our mount like this. We're gonna take the piece we got from Amazon, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna slide in there like this. And then we'll use this to mount the plate to. Yeah, I think that looks right. So, yeah, you know, kind of a couple adapter brackets that we're gonna have to use here. I'm gonna have to find some nuts to hopefully fit this, because this hardware did come with the 132 mount, and basically we're gonna have, you know, nut and bolt attaching this mount to the Amazon mount, and then once this is actually, it's upside down, and then once we're ready, we're gonna be able to take this and put it probably in the bottom row of the toolbox, and that way we'll have our 20+ inch monitor. So, all right guys, so I have bolted the two mounts together, and I just kind of centered it in the middle of the mount, as I tried to do as best as possible. Used some stainless 8mm headed bolts, and yeah, I did have to cut them down a little bit because the mount was going to hit the wall back here. So, you know, I did have to trim that down a little bit with the bandsaw, but yeah, so we have everything set up to put this on our wall. We got the mounts put together. You simply slide it in on this particular Samsung monitor. You just heard it click in. Now we're ready to put it on the wall. All right guys, we have the Samsung monitor fully mounted up here. Like I kind of thought we were gonna have to go all the way to the bottom, so we're on the very bottom row of the channel here. Thought we might be able to go up one, but honestly guys, it was hitting the door. Now maybe if I had kind of like opened the door up and tried to sneak it in there, you know, we might have been able to fit it a little bit closer to the roof of the toolbox. But guys, this is fine. You know, not gonna be using this a ton, just for, you know, kind of when I want to do some research and stuff and I'm having trouble diagnosing things, I can just put my laptop, plug it in here on the side, call it a day. So yeah, that is the Samsung monitor added to our Harbor Freight US General toolbox. All right guys, for the next modification to the toolbox, what we'll be doing is basically creating a spacer for the 27-inch cabinet. As you guys can clearly see right here, this wheel is not touching the ground and it is 2 inches short. So basically when you bolt the 27-inch cabinet to the 72-inch cabinet, when it's on the same height, the wheels obviously don't fit anymore. So you need to create a spacer that's 2 inches in height total between the bottom of the toolbox and the wheel. So as you can see over here on our welding table, we've got a couple supplies. This is just one of the wheels. I'm not gonna be using this one. I'm using this one for the spacing, but we're gonna be using the swivel casters, not this one. So we got this as our mock-up. We got our flat plate that I got on Amazon, and then I got a 2x2 square tubing from Amazon as well. And basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut 4 plates out of this flat plate steel, you know, cut it, mark it for their holes, and that is gonna be basically a top. Then you're gonna have your 1.5 inches, whatever we end up cutting out of this, and then a bottom, so a top plate, bottom plate, and a middle piece. And the middle piece will be this 2x2 square tubing. So yeah, Shouldn't be too terrible on the mock-up of this. Like I said, it literally just needs to be a 2-inch spacer. There is a company that sells these, but they only sell it as a kit of 4, and I think they wanted $130, $140 for all 4. And so basically you're going to be spending $70 for 2 of them. I guess you could sell the other 2. And I think I bought these supplies, I want to say it was like $35 or $40 total. Alright guys, we've already marked out the 4 plates that we're going to need to cut out. So if we ever wanted to modify these, make them longer, we've got some extra leftover plate, and I don't know what we'll do with the rest of this, but... Alright guys, that is all 4 plates cut out, and yes, there is some soap on here. Kind of picked that trick up from the internet, but basically just put a bar of soap on the teeth, and it'll just help preserve your blade a bit. And normally I use this for cutting aluminum, but today we're obviously cutting plate steel, and we don't want that to dull out, so... Alright guys, we got our 4 plates cut out as well as our square tubing. Like I said, I did 1.5 inches on here. These are a 1/4 inch thick, and we are just about 2 inches on this one. Just about 2 inches on that one as well. And everything worked pretty well with the bandsaw, as you guys saw, but I did have a couple high spots. One of these was actually kind of cut at an angle, so I had to hit it with the angle grinder and basically kind of flatten out that spot that was cut at a little bit of an angle. Flatten that out, use the grinder or the belt sander over there, we were fine. And the other one kind of had like a U shape in it, so I kind of had to flatten out all 4 corners. I think that was this one, yeah. And again, just use the angle grinder, flatten out all 4 corners, took it to the belt sander, and we're good to go. So now that we have our plates cut out, we've got our square tubing cut out, now we need to put the bolt holes on here. So yeah, all of our plates and square tubing is cut, so it'll go like this. You know, we'll have that plate there, we'll weld that on, weld this one on, and that is pretty much going to be your completed spacer. So alright guys, we're getting ready to MIG weld this. I did swap out the wire. I had some stainless wire on here for welding the exhaust in the Corvette. Swapped that out for mild steel MIG wire. And also I switched the gas to the Argon CO2. We had the Trimix on there for the exhaust. We don't need that obviously, so we're going through our menus. This is going to be C25 MIG steel. Yeah, everything's correct. The wire diameter is 30 thou. Thickness of the material is going to be 1/4 inch. guys, we got both pieces welded on, and the beads look pretty good for this being 1/4 inch thick. So let's go ahead, we'll tack on the other flange of this adapter and go ahead and finish this up. So we got both adapters all welded together. It's all welded on all 4 sides on both flanges, so we're good to go there. So we just need to let this cool down, throw a coat of paint on it, and then we can throw it up under the 27-inch toolbox from Harbor Freight. All right, guys, you can see I kind of have the paint booth set up, aka the lift arms, and I have done a layer of primer on here. Then I hit it with 2 coats of SEM trim black. And I will bolt this on probably in another 20-30 minutes. I want to give this stuff a little bit of time to harden up. But yeah, so they have been primered and painted. We'll get these wheels on there. These are the caster wheels. We'll get those on there. All right, guys, we finally have the outside wheels installed on the toolbox. You can see the front and the back. We have our 2-inch spacers that we made up. We've got our sandwich plate. And then we've got our wheel installed. So yeah, pretty simple to make. Just you know, make sure you measure it before you guys start cutting, drilling, and welding, because like I said, your results may vary. But if you guys are concerned about putting a wheel right here, guys, the wheel physically won't fit with the casters here on the 72-inch box. So you really can have only another set of wheels on the outside of it, which is fine because the load is carried here. You know, it's bolted together at the bottom, it's bolted together at the top, and then you've got your third triangulation here with the wheels, the outside wheels. And yes, I did put in the caster wheels because if you put straight wheels in, it ain't gonna fit. You know, these have to turn with the middle wheels, and the only wheels that go straight are the outside ones. So, all right, guys, for the last part of our upgrades to the Harbor Freight US General Toolbox, we're gonna be adding a speaker system. And you guys might be wondering, well, why are you gonna be doing that? Well, when I sold my stainless steel toolbox that I had right here, that thing had a built-in radio. Also had a built-in fridge, which I never used, so we're not gonna miss that. But I do miss having tunes. So I've basically had no music out here for the last 4 to 6 weeks since we sold that last toolbox, and yeah, it kind of sucks. And so what we have for this last mod is a hand-me-down, because I've upgraded other things, and that is basically gonna be this 6-speaker system with a subwoofer. Now, guys, it's not any high-end system. It's just a Logitech computer speaker setup. But yeah, it's a lot better than nothing. And since we already had it, it's free. Kind of like the monitor. We already had that, so that was free. So might as well finish out this system by putting in some speakers and basically just setting it up. So I'm going to put the subwoofer underneath the toolbox. This is 6.5 inches on its side. And underneath the toolbox, we think we have 8.5 inches of clearance, so I'm just gonna sneak this under the toolbox. All right, guys, I did get the speakers hooked up. You guys can see I have pulled the toolbox out of here, and that is because, honestly, guys, you need to get back behind here so you can run all your wires. Yes, this looks extremely messy. I will be zip tying these before we put it back, but as you guys can see, nothing's really under tension. It's just a lot of wires because this speaker system has a subwoofer, because that's what those are all plugged into. You've got, you know, 2 right speakers, a middle speaker, and 2 left speakers. The last one's back there. And just to prove to you, here's my YouTube video. This is from last week, actually. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you guys can hear, we definitely have audio coming through all of the speakers. All right, guys, we have knocked out the video portion of this upgrade. As you guys can see, we have our monitor here. It's just a carbon copy with an HDMI cable of my laptop to the monitor. May get a separate keyboard for this thing, so I can just keep this closed in the corner and have a keyboard out here. But, you know, just for now, like I said, I just want to show you guys how this looks. reverse, try to give it a little bit of gas, and it almost
video,
wants to stall
audio,
so
everything's working.
I think something's going on with the throttle body, maybe the intake, because last time I worked. So we will end our doppelganger of me being on screen, on a screen, on a screen. You guys know how those memes work. So, but yeah, that is the last part of the initial setup. All right, guys, so that's pretty much gonna be a wrap on all of the modifications to our toolbox, mostly to the hutch, as well as the wheels that we created a little spacer for over here on the right side of the 27-inch toolbox. But yeah, you know, we went from a bare bones toolbox to having, you know, a computer, a monitor, speakers. We have lights, you know, we've got the lights from Icon. Power strip was in here previously. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be the first round of modifications for all of our stuff that we have in here. Pretty happy with everything. Obviously, got to clean up some garbage. There's obviously some wire organization we got to go through. But I did find one thing. I'm actually going to order a second one of these power strips. And I'm going to put it over here in this corner because I found that I need power on both sides of the box, and I only have it really on this side. And if I have the fan plugged in, I've got no more outlets. Right now my laptop is running on battery, but that really needs a 110, 120 volt plug. So, you know, we're gonna end up buying another one of those Harbor Freight US General power strips. And so yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos where we're, you know, kind of just messing around with what we have, tools, modifications, shop updates, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications. If you guys want to help support the channel, check out all the links down below. I should be able to get a link to the metal we used for that wheel brace. The Icon LUT, we did get that from Harbor Freight. And then the monitor mount, I did end up getting that from a guy, it's like 132 Fab or whatever that guy's website was. So yeah, check out all those links. And also make sure you check our website, BonecrrusherSS.com. Any support that you guys can give us goes right back into the channel, whether it's upgrades to my toolbox, upgrades to the Corvette, the truck, etc. So that's gonna be it. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.